Right, we're rolling. We're rolling into the first podcast from the Let's Talk Bikes. It's exciting. I'm here with my friend Callum Swan. I'm Josh Spinks, the host. And this podcast is brought to you by EP1 Constructions, civil engineering specialists, highly regarded. Thanks, Mike and Curtis. We are in the Moto 101 podcast, and such a cool venue now. Thanks to Ryan for letting us use this place. We've got Work Sports Insurance, which is Callum's thing. We'll definitely touch on that throughout the podcast. And JSMX Coaching, which is obviously my business, coaching riders of all ages and abilities for everyone. So the concept here, this is the first one. I am excited. I don't know if I look it or sound it. I'm trying. But it's a little bit tricky for me to be excited with my voice. But I'll give it everything I've got. The concept here is I'm the motocross coach. That's what I've been doing now for about 7-8 years. We've got Callum Swan. He's well known. We'll get on to Callum in a minute, but he's the Moto Dad. He's got Cooper, his son that I coach. He's 5 years old and he's fully invested in it. Okay, he's doing some racing, he's coaching, he's riding regular, all in. So I think touching on some cool subjects, how things are perhaps different from when I was that age. So different in so many ways. I think that's fair to say. And then, yeah, seeing it from Callum's eyes, what he's experienced, how I see it. Bearing in mind, I'm with so many people, so many different approaches that I witness. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, I've seen it all, and I've been through it myself. So I think this is quite an interesting concept, and we'll see where it goes. So a brief introduction on myself. I got into racing at 3 years old from my dad. Standard introduction. My uncle rode as well. PW50, same as where Cooper started. It's pretty standard, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got into racing at 6. I think that's still the age that you get introduced to the racing scene with Coventry Junior. I actually had a trophy handed to me to get out there because I had no confidence whatsoever. Really scared to get out there. Funnily enough, I won my first race, but there was only 2 people in it. So it was my school friend.
It was still a win.
Yeah, a win's a win. But it was my school friend, Jack Jones, great lad. It was just me and him, and I got the better of him. So you can imagine what the...
They ran a race with just 2.
2. But we was mixed with at the time, it was the KX60s.
Autos.
Yeah. So it beefed up that way. I had a high vis on, funny memories. But got through that season, managed to then build onto the gear bikes, won some of that, got to national level. Not the best start with that, but built up slowly, managed to grab a couple of BSMA nationals. That was quite a big thing then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
National.
I remember seeing your big trophies and stuff.
Yeah. We built up. So that's the kind of thing that I was going for. The pro racing was tricky for me, but I'd love to talk to Callum a lot more about that because it's quite interesting how it all went, up and down, sideways, left, right. But we ended up with a EMX podium, didn't we? 2018.
Yeah. But the thing is, the pro racing was difficult for you as well because you didn't have enough financial backing early on.
Yeah.
And back then, it was so much harder to reach out on social media and be a social media star and get help that way.
Yeah.
It was you just had to raw dog life a little bit more than what you do now. I've used that term a lot since I've been in it. But you did, it was just a bit more of a graft, wasn't it?
Lots of things were different even back in 2011, 2012 during the important times. But we got through that. We'll definitely delve into that a little bit more. There's some funny stories along the way. But we got a good quality result at the end of it to finish on a EMX 250 podium. Something I'm proud of. You was there the whole way. So
brilliant.
Yeah, and then I started the coaching 2015. I think that's when it was, just a little bit here and there. That's developed. It's got bigger and bigger academy-style things now. It's my full-time job. And I'm still racing a little bit, but that's at a much different quantity, shall we say. I've tailed it down. But I am representing Triumph now on the new 450 with West London Triumph. So that's a bit about me. Let's take it over to Callum. Like I say, a really good friend of mine. Callum, what are you known for? What do you do?
Oh, God. Well, I've been in this industry a long time. I fell in love with it when I started riding. I'd have been probably 13 when I first got on a bike. It was like a small wheel, 85. My parents split up, and my mum basically said to my dad, "You got to do something with him," And my dad went, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Go-karting."
the most expensive thing ever.
Naturally, he looked into that and was like, nah, we're not doing that. But you can do motocross.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what's that? You know, went down to Motorbrox in Derby and then ended up coming home with a KX85 and scaring the death out of myself. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I just fell in love with it. I'm absolutely so in love with the sport. And then obviously time went on and me and you met. I mean, that's a funny story in its own.
Let's touch on that in a minute. We'll tell that story. That's
me and
brilliant.
you met, and then I saw, obviously, when I knew I was going to have kids, mainly when Cooper came along, I turned my life around a little bit and started focusing a little bit harder on how I could be a little bit of an asset in the sport, and like got in with the MX Nationals guys. Did some of the commentary there, tried to meet as many people as I could in the industry and just like know how it worked a little bit on the inner workings. And yeah, just kind of, I don't know what I am, but I'm just a lover of the sport, and I wanted to be involved on the like the back end side of things, just to know how things operated and worked, because obviously my dream was always to get my kids into it, because it always is no matter what people say, it always is the parents' dream, and whether the kids want to do it or not, later on they'll make their mind up themselves, won't they? Because at the minute, like Cooper, he's 5, he doesn't know what he wants.
No, but he loves what he does.
Absolutely loves it, but he doesn't know what he wants.
No.
That's on me, me pushing a narrative on him, really. And fortunately, because I did all these things in the industry, that has helped me a lot. Getting a good foundation into Cooper, and hopefully it'll make his life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
As we go on. But yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Oh, I would say so. Yeah, for sure. And like you say, the commentary. You've got into commentary. You've gone down that avenue.
Done that. Ticked that box off with Jeff Perry. It was really fun doing that. And then it got to the point where I was thinking, how am I going to do that and go racing?
Yeah.
And I just had to make that decision to just go racing with Coop instead. Started Moto Mavericks at Junior Motocross Club. Managed to get the rules changed with the ACU. No one's ever managed to do that. We managed to do that. We had got racing down from age 4.
Brilliant.
Because Coop was 4, and I was thinking, I need to get him racing, and so we built this whole club. Got racing down to the age of 4 on PWs now, which is Mint and KTM E3s, E2s, things like that. I just try and be a bit of a doer, and I'm good at finding good people to come around me, because I'm good with ideas. Yeah. But I'm very scatty. I'm a very scatty person. I'm not very good at like just putting a jigsaw together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and not to mention that you really supported me as a rider, not just a friend. Tried. So you've been there as a sponsor, not just for me, a handful of riders. Yeah. You like to give back to the sport in your own way.
Can't as much now.
No, because you're occupied. Yeah, you're in it. You're in it, man. Moto Dad style. But you have touched on a lot of areas of the sport. Did my best. Yeah, you did your best. You covered a lot of areas. You're good at the commentary that come natural to you. You was really good at that. Your input into the Mavericks. Yeah. Having a son at that age, is really, really good. So. Yeah, you covered a lot of bases. Yeah. You know the sport inside and out. A lot of people know who you are. Back in the early days, that wasn't always a good thing.
It wasn't always a good thing. I think sometimes I used to speak before I would think, and as I've got older, I've tried to, as in now, I'm pausing, because I'm very conscious about thinking about what's going to come out. Yeah. Because I used to just, I don't know, I was too quick to an opinion, I think.
It was already said, wasn't it? Yeah. And then the consequence.
But I learned from it.
No, it's important. I think it shapes who we are now. I've actually gone the other way. I've found my voice a little bit. You was the one that used to put a lot of, deals together and at least put things
I was like,
in
right,
front
Josh,
of me.
we've got this.
Yeah. and you found a lot of support for me in my career. So I'm so grateful on that side of things. We did so much together. I'm going to run down how we met, right? So it was quite a while ago. Would you say it was 2011?
I think it was, yeah.
Because this in itself is quite a funny story.
So I would have been... God, what bike was I on? Was I on Kawasaki?
I think it was on a KX250.
Yeah, so it would have been 2011.
This is a while ago now. Because it is funny, right? It's not hilarious, but it's funny. So this is the way I see it. The reason I know it so well, and I think it was 2011, was because I had the David Knight 450. Right?
That thing was dangerous, wasn't it?
Yeah, David Knight. So how old was I at the time? I'd only just gone to a big bike, MX1. So I'm guessing...
You did that early as well.
Yeah, I was probably only 18, 17, probably 17.
17, yeah.
And I remember so just a quick story on this bike. David Knight's beach race bike. It had a tall fourth gear, only 4 gears, tall fourth gear. It had some little running issues, so it went to a dyno. My dad said, we're going to take it to a dyno, make sure it's running all right and all the rest of it.
Because they were still the carb job back then.
Might have been Carl Presswood. It needed a bit of fettling. And Carl rings my dad and says, Neil, this bike goes 100 miles an hour on the dyno. Because it's got a tall gear. It was made for the big straight. And here's me, like 17 years old. I probably only weighed... That was nothing on me then, was there? Nothing. But anyway, I was on that bike. Obviously, a silly idea in hindsight, but we made it work. The reason I think it was at 2011 we met, because I was on that bike. My dad, it was Mallory Park. That was a stomping ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
A lot of people listening will
but it was
probably
only 20 minutes
that
from your house as well.
Yeah, it was just
So
like where I
ideal,
used to
wasn't
go, and I didn't know you at the time. But anyway, my dad goes, right, you've got a pedal tyre in. He was out somewhere with someone. Change your back wheel, Josh. I was like, right, I've never done this before. You know, at that age, ridiculous. Never changed my back wheel. So I did. Anyway, so what happened was, as you know, wheel spindles have got 2. They've got the big bit. What would you call that? And you can twist it 180 degrees. It's got the small bit. Spacers.
No, is it a spacer? Yeah, well, yeah, but you've got different adjustments, haven't you? It's the chain adjuster.
Yeah, it's a chain adjuster, but the spacer has 2 directions.
Yes.
The longer nib and the shorter nib. Didn't know that at the time. So I've put the wheel in the night before, Tuesday night, just like really struggling with it. Like got the chain on, you know, when the brake pads are like moving around, forced the screwdriver in there.
Because probably common sense, you would think the small nib touching the nut.
No, I had one nib, small nib, then the other side was the big nib. So the wheel was pissed up. It's not even straight. And I remember like thinking, why you can't, I was trying to thread it and I was struggling with it, the chain was tight, whatever, we didn't even think about it. Did it up with the one way, one the other, didn't even look at it, got to the track, 3 laps in, the chain snapped.
Yeah.
And that's why
before the tabletop.
Yeah. So I'm pushing my bike off of the track, just like looking down at the chain, 2 laps in, like, oh, scratching my head, didn't even know what the crack was. Look up, you're on your KX250.
Well, not on it.
No, well, this is it. You was coming past me down the main straight, the second straight.
Yeah. Which is pretty fast for you.
Fast, flat out. I'm hearing a bit of limiter. Look up, I don't know who you are. You just touch your front brake into the second corner and lose the front, don't you?
Yeah.
In 4th gear.
Flat out.
And cartwheel it.
Because Rob had been stood there with a hose.
Watering the track.
Just a flipping hose, just flooding it out. And I was just wide open. I think I'd just come on the track.
Yeah.
Because you'd done like a few laps, and I think I'd just come from the van and gone on the track.
I just looked from right to left and then just seen one of the biggest crashes of my life. But what sticks in my mind is you cartwheeled it, big crash, bars twisted, snapped up. Is he dead, is he not? Gets up and you just put your hands up like that and just go, wow, at me. And I didn't know who you was. And I was just like, wow, this guy. So then when I got back to the pits, you'd obviously got back to the pits, your bars were probably in half. That's when I just come over to you and said, mate, what was that? Are you all right? And you was just like, mate, fine.
But I fully got away with it.
Yeah.
There was not a mark on me.
No.
I think because of how fast that I'd come off,
slid.
I just rolled.
Yeah, slid.
And I was in all them nettles and shit on the side.
It was big. It was massive. But then what's funny about that is, obviously we had a laugh about it. You'd probably seen me there a few times before. Yeah. Maybe I've seen you there a few times before.
I knew of you because I raced Wilden Lane probably a season before, no, 2 seasons before that.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing you and Josh Waterman going at it on 85.
Yeah, me and Josh.
Like just trying to literally kill each other.
Yeah.
Like
we never disliked each other, but it was
on the track. It was war.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching, like as a kid, like I am living my dream. Like I'm watching these two are trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
This is wicked. Meanwhile, me and Dean Akes are racing in the Noddy Clash, you know what I mean? Like,
that was the place to be.
But watching you two go at it, so I knew of you, but I didn't know you. You know what I mean? I used to see you were just a badass kid on an 85 that I remember.
That's it. And
then I had one of your bikes.
You did the black coloured one.
Yeah,
maybe with the we had a GMX.
Yeah, I had all the aluminium tank. I had all of that.
Beautiful bike.
Yeah, it was wicked. Yeah.
But that's how we met basically back in 2011, and then obviously we had a good laugh in the paddock there, and maybe the next week you was probably at my house then.
Yeah.
Just staying over.
Moved in, mate. Moved in.
Help yourself to the food cupboard.
I used to go to work. I used to have Wednesdays off work.
Yeah, which we rode on Wednesdays.
Yeah, so I used to always stay at yours on a Tuesday night. And then your dad would just be like, Swanee, you drive the sprint. I'm like, not insured.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Didn't
like,
mind.
just straight in. Like,
that's it.
He was like, just get in the Sprinter and just go riding, boys. You know what I mean? I always remember your dad would like leave $1,000 in the glove box in case anything broke.
He's not a dealer, by the way. No, but you're right.
He was just a builder.
A builder, yeah.
Cash on him, yeah.
It worked. We was good friends. It worked to get me out on a Wednesday. Dad could go work. It was just brilliant. We got on great. And then, what was that time my dad literally pretzeled you, didn't he?
Yeah.
What was that story?
No, because I went in and he was reading the newspaper, wasn't he?
TMX?
Yeah. And he used to sit there in a chair, be zoned into it. And I just punched. I thought, I don't know what it was. It was in the morning on a Wednesday morning. First thing, woke up, get breakfast. I'm like, nah, I don't want breakfast. I'm going to go and punch Neil's newspaper out.
This was before even video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It weren't even for effect.
I just thought I need to do this.
Yeah.
So I just walked into the living room and he's sat there all innocent, angry man.
Probably like right, Swanee.
Yeah, like that. And I just went, bang, just punched his
hole in it.
Yeah, like through to him, like that. And he was like, what? And I just saw like rage. And he just folded me in half.
He did, didn't he?
And he was punching me in my ass.
In then.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the commotion? Next minute, you're in shapes, man.
Yeah.
He put you in a shape, innit?
He'd like sat on my legs, so I'm like folded, and he's punching me in my arse like this. And that was like
Mr. Neil.
Yeah,
Didn't
Mr.
take
Neil.
any shit then.
No, I
funny.
properly fucked his newspaper up though.
Yeah, that was unreadable after that.
Yeah.
So
it was so good. Though.
And then,
but your dad liked that. Your dad liked that kind of thing, didn't he? It was funny.
But the TMX was like, you had to know the news agents, didn't you?
Yeah.
To get it in.
Yeah.
He'd have been excited for that read, and you just put your fist straight through it. But
ruined it.
Yeah, we got some stories. I mean, like, what about the Pro Goon stuff? So, what's funny about that is, man, it's like most people go off in a weird direction, don't they, when they're about 17, 18? Mm-hmm. As in, like, I could go out to the pub, I could have some beers, I could...
We weren't doing none of that,
no,
were we?
We replaced that
with
something that we, at the time, it is quite funny. I'm sure YouTube will get a look at now, won't it? But we replaced that with, let's get some mates around my house.
Yeah.
Like 6, 7 at a time.
Yeah.
On a Friday night, probably start off with a Nando's.
That was our Friday night.
Yeah, let's start off with a Nando's. Get some ideas on our, notepad. No, we didn't have a notepad. But discuss some ideas. What can we do for a YouTube video?
YouTube was new. YouTube,
it'd been around.
It had been around, but it was like, for us, it was like, whoa. I could put stuff online.
I could do some video editing, couldn't I? iMovie, just a little bit here and there, nothing major, but I was like, right, I'm the video guy. And the concept was, you started this with your mate, so I'll let you touch on it in a minute, but the concept was, let's dress up in a kit, which, funnily enough, had our names splattered all over the back of it.
Yeah.
And let's go in shopping centres, food places, like with like recreational playgrounds, video ourselves, just causing a bit of havoc.
Just doing dumb shit, but not harming... Not like harm. Well, you say not jackass.
There was a bit of that.
No, the flipping golf ball off my arm.
Yeah, no,
Dude,
we did copy some of that.
That hurt so much.
Right.
Sean didn't even aim for the ball.
No, he knew what
full
the crack.
cheek.
He knew what the crack was, didn't he?
Full cheek. I was bruised.
Sean knew what the crack was. Literally, the T was in your crack. But so yeah, that's something that was unique.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
At the time, though, like you said, it was just something to pass the time. But I don't know whether, in hindsight, that probably did hinder your...
Massively.
Your
no, but it's
career
like,
a little bit.
The reason I think it did was because, we're at the age where you've got to learn, right? So I'm not saying what we did was productive as such, but it was like, was a thing, wasn't it? And it was funny. Did it stop us going a different way?
Yeah.
Should I have been doing a bit more? Yeah, but then I learned from that, and that's why my career stemmed a lot later.
Yeah.
But it is a thing that we did. and it is funny.
Because you think back then, right, when we were doing all that, let's think about what was Max Anstey doing at that point?
Yeah.
He was grinding.
Yeah, that's it.
Every day.
But I don't...
You
let's
know
touch
what I mean?
on that a little
No,
bit.
like...
Yeah, let's touch on that a bit, because if you could wind the clock back, things would be very different. But I didn't know what to do.
Didn't know. And your dad didn't know.
No, that's the truth.
Simple of it is. He had a go. He had a go. He had his best go at it.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. Like, when you have kids, you'll know what to do.
Yeah, because of the mistakes.
Because of all the mistakes. You know what I mean? And that's me with Cooper. I'm punishing myself, honestly. Like, this bit deep. Like, every night I'm sat there and I'm in bed and I'm like, what can I be doing? How can I be better? What can I do? And I'll go to the track. You know, I'll have all these plans that we're going to test some different tyres today. We're going to do this. I'm trying to put a bit of sensitivity into him so he knows how things feel different and stuff like that. And sometimes you go to the track and all these plans are just out of the water because he might be just riding like a pussy.
Yeah.
And because he's a 5-year-old, and they sometimes do that.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know. Like you know, and then I'm like, doesn't do nothing. But you have to, like, the second generation, it's a lot easier. My dad had no clue. No. Nothing.
Yeah.
No clue. You know, your dad did so much for you, you know, in hindsight, but it was probably like you've got 50 grand to spend. Like, Neil would spend 10 grand on orange bits.
Yeah, waste.
Complete
waste.
You know, like, I remember him showing me stuff in the garage, like, look at this. Like, he would open his back, like, all the SXS bling bits you can get, just look at this. And it was, but he didn't know. And it's...
No, it's all part of learning. And like you say, this is going to be some subjects that we're really going to touch up on. Is like you say, how intense do you have to be? How intense should you be? What's, you know, what sits right? Because, like I say, if you're punishing yourself, to me, that's a little bit like, I don't know, you don't mean it literally.
I'm an intense guy, though.
Yeah, you don't mean it literally, but this is what I see from my side as a coach. It's like, I see people that, similar to me, and like, say, my dad at the time, don't really understand. They have a bit of knowledge, but not a full understanding of it. So I'm trying to help on that aspect. But then I see people, I'm not saying this is you, but I see people that are so intensely on it, easily led, you know, potentially down the wrong paths, which is very easily done now with the social media side. And it's a balance, isn't it? It's like what works. And every child is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some like the intenseness, some like to ride just all the time.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
So that what I mean is that
Cooper doesn't.
No.
Like, I can give him too much.
Yeah.
But like some of his friends I'll see, a good one, Harley Patel.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah, I know Harley,
rider. Just got a bit of a natural spark, bit of a gift for it.
Yeah.
He could ride every day of the week.
Yeah.
I just know Coop would get sick of it if I did that. I have to be a little bit more careful, but that's part of like knowing, innit?
Yeah.
And knowing your kid a little bit, I think. And you have to, some parents don't listen to what the kids are saying.
Yeah.
And you keep pushing, but I think it can ruin it.
I think so. I think I relate to where I am. I don't know if it's because it was always the same for me. I never rode more than 2-3 times a week. So that's all I knew. And then I feel like once I got into it, I had to make it up in different ways.
Yeah.
So my gym training regime was quite intense.
Yeah.
But then you hear of like, there's some riders like Jeffrey Howlands is quite open and honest about it. I feel like he wants to ride 5 days a week, or he used to when he was younger.
He did.
And that really worked for him. If he didn't, he'd probably have something in his mind that was like, oh, I'm not prepared. I've not done what I need to do. But hear me out on this. This is something that I thought about. As people know, at quite a high level, the gym stuff, yes, you can enjoy it, but it's not nice.
No.
So if there's no substitute for essentially riding your bike.
Yeah.
And replicating that. So in my position, it's like, if you have a mechanic, the bike's always there for you. It's not, it's not a massive inconvenience for you. Would you sooner not ride as your fitness?
Yeah. Well, that's what that's literally
pace
what
yourself
he did.
in the gym.
Yeah.
More to make it up.
I guess that's a budget thing as well, though.
Yeah.
Big
it
time.
is massively.
Big time a budget thing. But they say, looking at, again, you can be led down different paths and stuff, but looking at a lot of the American training facilities and stuff, like Millsaps, like they say 10,000 hours is that's where you're going to be.
That's more than motocross, isn't it?
Supposed to be the magic
The
number.
Fuel
though.
10K breakfast thing.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
actually sponsored me. That was one of my core sponsors.
I don't know. It's in every sport. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the amount of hours.
That is
to
how
reach
good.
your
That is how
peak.
good you're going to be. Yeah. So
Okay.
the sooner you can get to that 10,000 hours, that's what they all go on about.
Yeah.
That's your level.
Mm.
You know, that's a lot.
That's a serious amount.
But that's where if you start doing something at 4,
Yeah.
you're going to be there when you're 16, 17.
I see that logic.
It's a long time.
I think what I try and see it from a coaching point of view is not every rider's the same in so many aspects. The approach, some people like it so straight. Some people you have to be quite soft. You can't. They don't like being discussed. A kid necessarily doesn't like being talked to like an adult.
No.
So you have to adjust that.
You're very good at that.
Yeah, that's some good feedback.
I've seen some coaches not do that.
Yeah,
and there's no
just one approach.
disrespect to them. That's fine. Everyone goes about their own business, don't they? Their own way. But you are very good at that.
Yeah.
And like Cooper's got a good relationship with you, and he really trusts what you tell him.
Yeah, no, that means a lot, and I get that feedback. It's not something I have to try really hard at. I think it's natural for me to do that, which is helpful. But one of the best compliments I've had, from someone that he teaches PE at a private school. Mm-hmm. So he's got some clout in what he does. He's got some. He's obviously been through the university degrees and all that, this, that, and the other. When I coach his son, and he complimented me on that, the approach and how they engage. And how the kids engage with me, which meant a lot to me. Obviously, it means a lot coming from yourself, but for someone in that industry with the qualifications is the word that I was looking at.
I think sometimes from a parent looking, you can be like, he's making that sound a little bit too. Yeah. But really, you have to get down onto the kids' levels, and it's making like, what can a 5-year-old understand, and how can I make him actually understand this?
Make it fun.
Make it fun. It's got to be a game,
It's got to be
like
fun.
when we were doing that rut the other day, you made it a bit of a challenge.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's and then Coop was like, I want to have a go at it.
Yeah. Who wants to try this? You know what I mean? And it's like me.
It was funny how the older kids were like, no, I ain't doing that.
Get shied away.
You're mad.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what it takes, isn't it, to be almost like a well-rounded coach, really. And I suppose this is where there's some similarities. As a well-rounded, let's call it Moto Dad, you've got to experiment with different things. Yeah. You've got to learn what works.
I think the easily led thing is a big topic, especially with tuning and stuff. Like people obviously waste tons of money early on, and you've got to really be careful of that because you'll run out. Mm-hmm. It will go. Yeah. And you'll burn yourself out, and then you'll go on like, the kid's burned out and all that. It's like, no, mate, you're burned out. You can't fund this anymore. Yeah. Don't blow yourself out too early. Like, I was going mental. Like, I went through a stage of obviously, some good boys, done some work, Cooper's bike and all that, and it was really cool. It was too much for him. Yeah. It was too much for him. Like I've listened to a bit of a mentor I've got. I won't mention his name. Someone who's been there and done it on the dad side of things, and he really helps keep me grounded and, really helps me not waste money in the wrong areas. Yeah. And I'll always, every time I get these crazy ideas at 2 a.m, I'm like, I'm going to text him. What do you think to this? And he'll go, stop being an idiot. Like, you don't need to do that. Or he'll go, maybe try it. But I'll stick with one guy who I know's done it.
Give us one thing that you feel like you've done that you believe definitely doesn't work. For someone that's kind of getting into the sport. And obviously I've got some things that I see that I'll back it up or agree or say, something that I see. But
yeah, in what sense? Like, as in
something that
better in the bike? Or?
Well, it could be like how you went down the bike path. It could be how your approach as a parent to Cooper, that you think I did that wrong. Maybe you started shouting at him and you seen that he was yeah. So don't make it that, but like anything that you're thinking like.
Yeah, I mean, okay, one thing like parenting, and then one thing bike tip.
Yeah, go on.
I think for autos. Don't want to give too much away though, Josh.
No, not all the good stuff.
I don't want to give too much away. We're going to be in trouble.
Just something that you'd hate someone else to do.
Parenting. I think I had to learn how to be patient, and I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to be better every day at being patient, especially with my son Coop, because you know him, he's a really soft, kind, delicate kid. He's not one of these kids that just, we get to the track, for example, this weekend, we did the YouTube video with 9 Laser, which was massive. Video. It's had nearly 200,000 views.
Awesome watch.
We get there, tons of kids are coming round. Oh, it's Cooper Swan, he's on the video and all this. It wrecked him, Josh.
Did it?
He can't. And I looked at that and I thought, I've put Cooper in the spotlight here. That was on me.
Yeah.
And mentally, it's made it. We was on the start line and he was like, Dad, I feel sick. I feel so nervous. And he started crying.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's could be correlating, like he's feeling pressure.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fair.
That's an honest thing.
I need, but the same token, I'm not a millionaire. And I kind of need to do little bits and bobs. And as he gets older, he'll understand that to try and get a little bit of help.
Promote, isn't it?
I need help, get him out there. To get to where I want him, well, where I think his potential is.
Yeah.
I need help. You know what I mean? Like, so me and him have to do a bit of that. But he tells me he enjoys it and he watches it at home, watches the video and stuff. I think he just gets a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah. I understand. So my take on that is, he's 5. Like you say, he wasn't daunted on the day.
No.
I can tell that. I wasn't there because of how natural he was in the camera.
Yeah.
So you didn't make a bad day for him there.
No, loved it.
What is not a bad thing, I suppose, is more of a social thing, is more people coming his way.
He has social anxiety, which I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, so it's hard for you
Mel's
to
like that, my partner.
Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite. And I'm like, how has he got social anxiety?
Yeah.
And God, it builds frustration up in me. But I'm learning to deal with it. And because, I'll be like, Cooper, go and play with your friends. And, he's like clinging on to me at the track and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really hard to deal with. But that's just me. I've just got to learn to be a little bit more patient with him and then probably learn how to talk to him and not sound so frustrated with him.
Yeah, that's fair. So basically, patience.
Yeah.
You feel like you have to be patient. I think that's such a big thing from when I was younger, with my dad's approach, not patient.
Yeah.
In any sense, really. That didn't work for me when the shouting came and what was that performance, and it just made me lower. That's how I was. I'm not saying, these are all opinions.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that sometimes a bit of tough love...
You might not have been as good without that.
Yeah. I'm not saying that a bit of tough love wouldn't work for some riders.
Yeah.
But I feel like, how I was, maybe how Coop is...
He's probably similar to you.
It doesn't work, does it?
No.
That approach doesn't work.
I have to build his confidence.
Yeah.
Or, and I have to... Mel's really good at, she'll, even if she's not there, she'll be obviously looking at my laps and stuff. And I'll have a text on my phone, watch what you say to him when he comes off the track. Just try and give him some encouragement. You know what I mean? She's she's
teamwork,
really good with that. Mel's as obsessed as I am with it. So she helps ground me, and sometimes Coop's dead good. Coop rides back to the van by himself, jumps off his bike and waits for me.
Yeah.
If I just need to walk back a little bit slower just to gather my head before I get to the van, then I'll just do that.
Yeah.
And then when I get there, I'm like, all right, mate.
It's that whole, take a breath and then...
Yeah, I don't want to just go there. What was that?
Yeah.
Cooper, what are you doing?
But that's the stuff you witness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the stuff I witness sometimes, which is what you are saying cannot have a positive impact.
They're going to become because if they're... You, like me, I'm his absolute world.
Yeah, look, you're his
everything.
Superman, isn't it?
Yeah, everything.
So,
and if I'm disappointed in, you imagine that feeling.
Yeah, there is a line because, I feel like as we get into more different, this is good now because we're touching on some raw, important subjects, and I think that's what this is going to be. The next podcast will be more intensely on these subjects. It's good to gloss over it now, and I just feel like. Yeah, I witness many things as a coach. You're at all the races, you see some things. And it's there's no right or wrong.
No.
But there is some wrong.
There is definitely some wrong.
And it's don't fall into these traps or try your best not to.
Sometimes you need to build them up, psych them up, maybe make them a little bit mad before they go out, because some kids need that.
Bring the best
come on, let's
out
go,
of someone.
let's go.
Yeah.
Do that, do a bit of mad dog before you're going out to the race.
Yeah.
When they're coming back and they've tried the best, they're not going to go on that track and not try the best.
Some do.
Well,
It can happen.
Yeah, it can.
So we will say that is frustrating.
Okay, yeah, that is frustrating. But try and hold back the mad dog and work out why. The one thing that said person told me, and it's been a key factor in my mind. A small kid will only go fast on a dirt bike if they're comfortable on the bike. Yeah. Lots of these dads, go out and buy all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And you see them all the time on autos with these big bars on and stuff like that because Cohen Llewellyn runs them.
Yeah.
Cohen's a good rider. Amazing.
It works for
him.
Must do.
You'll see 100%. Another kid and they're like, have these big Renthal bars on and all this sort of stuff. And you're looking at them, you're like, they're so uncomfortable on that bike.
Maybe too high.
Too much. Yeah. So it's like, but it's like, you need to find comfort. You know what I mean? Like everything that I've done with Coop's stuff now, bike is comfort. Like I was told by this person, lower the rear end a little bit, space the shock out. If the bike's relaxed and not twitchy, so if you're relaxing the rear end, obviously you're going to sacrifice a little bit in cornering, maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of stability on straights. It's going to give good feedback to the rider. The bike's not going to do weird stuff because a 5-4-year-old doesn't know that the bike's doing weird stuff. All he knows
is in like tank slappers.
Yeah.
And
all
stuff
he
like
knows
that.
is I'm just going to come off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
So make that bike really comfortable.
100%.
Flat bars.
Yeah.
Make the cockpit small. Chop some of the bars. I take 10 mil
to narrow
off the bars each side.
Because at that age, so what's the scope on a 50cc? You get on it at 5.
5.
Cooper,
yeah, 5
generally, and then you can stay on until 9.
9. Yeah.
Right, so you imagine the growth of the person.
Big. Yeah.
In that period of time, especially the shoulder width.
Yeah.
That's what your handlebars are.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
It's a width.
You're not in a strong position if you're like this. You're strong there. Think about pulling on a row machine.
Yeah.
You're there, aren't you?
That's it.
You're not here.
No,
if you try to go on a rower, put a set of big dirty bars on and see how hard it is compared to.
Yeah, it's the thing that I see a lot, and I can't comment. I can't be too honest about it because you just upset people, and we've realised that that can be a bad thing for a lot of areas, but especially in what I do as a coach. But you want to be honest, you want to help people, but some people can't be helped. No names. I've coached hundreds and thousands of people over the years, but what I see is like it's almost like a competition now. Sometimes, isn't it? This is what I've got. Yeah, they're talking about the kid's bike.
100%.
It's like look, this is what I've got.
I've got
this
one
on
person
it
in my mind right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't need to. I haven't probably got the same person.
I've spent this.
Yeah. But that's what it's become now a little bit. And the trouble is that the compromise there is a lot of that. The compromise there is your bike's too fast.
Yeah.
And it's unmanageable.
I was on the stopwatch around Sam's track. Mate of mine. Coop was on the VRD Stage 1 Auto, which I will say, that package for the money is amazing.
Yeah.
I think if you're on big wheels.
Yeah.
Right? We had it on the small wheels. In the winter, it worked really well. Mm-hmm. In like deeper conditions and stuff. I must admit, it actually did work really well in some places.
Yeah.
Now it started drying up. When I was on the small wheels, I was like, "Ooh, this thing's spinning up. The bike looks a bit nervous." And I saw Cooper like coming back a little bit. And I thought, "What's going on here?" So I spoke to my mate out in Belgium, and he was like, "Throw him on a stop bike."
Yeah, see the difference.
So had some conversations, and then that's when Dirt Store stepped in to support Coop.
Yeah,
and Nick was like, "What do you need?" And we had a little bit of a conversation. I managed to get another bike. Which was nice. So sent him out on the stock bike and we lost 2 seconds. Stock bike.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on here? But sometimes just come back a little bit.
Yeah, no.
To figure out what...
I've had tune bikes. I believe in tune bikes. I'm not saying that tune bikes aren't right. I pointed a bike out to you the other day, didn't I? Remember the lad on the coaching day? Yeah. And I said that the way that power comes in, strong, smooth, look easy to ride.
Sounded cool as well, didn't
it improved the ride. I thought, you know what, how that's been set up, brilliant. and again,
You couldn't put Coop on that.
no, but even on. So what I will say is, when I seen Coop on his tune bike, he had to be smooth.
Yeah, he did.
We both agreed at the time that okay, this bike is essentially too fast for him.
Yeah.
Where he is right now, but you've got this bike. This is what he's riding. This is what he's going to learn on this bike. To respect the throttle.
Yeah, and it did.
Fine grip.
It did
because it
work
spins up. Yeah,
in ways.
There's nothing wrong with that bike. What I'm saying is, there's nothing wrong with tuning bikes. People that have got tune bikes that are listening now, thinking that we're just saying don't have tune bikes.
No, not at all.
It's not the case. And you know, if I felt strongly that something was so unsafe for someone, I'd say something. It's not that. For me, it's like, it's a priority, isn't it? So if you've got a good suspension...
Suspension's key.
Yeah, if you've got a great suspension and a really fast engine, nothing wrong with that.
I think on an auto, suspension, the standard suspension is awful. The Air Force, they've got better on the bigger bikes, haven't they?
Yeah.
The new KTM stuff is pretty good now on the bigger bikes, but the kids' ones are still... I think if your kid's 30 kilograms, sound.
It works.
When you're getting them on at like 20 kilograms and stuff, just does not work.
Yeah.
You need to do a spring conversion kit. And then another thing on an auto, when you want a bit more speed, you need to get a bit more RPM.
Yeah.
So you need an ignition to get that RPM. At Mavericks, we've restricted it. We don't allow ignitions.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, you don't have ignitions. You know, people are still doing porting and all that. You can tune whatever you want, but without an ignition, you're not going to get more RPM. And on a single geared bike, RPM equals miles an hour.
Of course it does, yeah.
So if we restrict with standard ECUs, doesn't matter how fast his bike is compared to your bike, top speed, you know, they're all going to be the same, you know?
Yeah, I just think it's really interesting. It's a priority, like you said. Comfort comes first.
Comfort.
Right? So every ride is different. I just want to stress that a tune engine works for some. I would imagine that if you actually did what you did, we'll use Cooper as an example. It's not about anyone else.
Yeah.
The time he went faster on the stock bike, not because the tune bike isn't good, it suits him.
Yeah.
And it made him more comfortable.
It was just comfort.
He could use the power.
But then when we went Haverick, I wish I'd have had brought the VRD bike with us.
But my argument here is, like I say, it's things that I witnessed, not people that are on my academy. It's nothing like that. It's like I've seen over the years a rider that they've never measured his sag.
No, yeah.
Right, so I'm thinking,
I do that every time.
Is there any
every
sag
time
in
we
that
ride,
bike?
measure the sag, because a 5-year-old is growing every week.
Yeah, it's going to change. When you adjust your chain or, you know, put a different gearing on, your sag will change. 1 mil, you think 1 mil, hold on a minute, but on a small travel bike, 1 mil,
it's a lot.
It's not going to make the difference. It's not going to cause an accident.
No,
it's
but
not
a kid can feel it without being able to tell it. It'd be like, this might feel a little bit different.
Potentially, or even if they don't, it's going to work better or worse. Yeah. For a mil's difference, like that's just the fact of it. Whether you think what I'm saying is a load of bollocks, but I feel a mil, but I've been running for X amount of time. Yeah. Right. So that's where it is with that. But I have witnessed people that are on essentially death traps because the bike's, you know, not set up in any way, but they've put in an exhaust on. They've gone down the avenue of you need to get this, you need to do that, and it's like. And then I've also I see a lot sometimes, and again, it's quite a common thing with clutches on 50s, as we know, but this is the trap of wasting money. Yeah. And it's not about, like, some people I know have got a lot of money, and that's great, you can spend there's nothing about that. But for me, it's like, why would you spend thousands on an engine, but when I'm listening to your bike, the clutch is knackered? Yeah. You hear that a lot. So much. It's like, you know, that you could be really a bit more sensible, and maybe it's the naivety, or I don't know. But well, people don't realise, like, you know, a lot of these kids at the top in Europe and stuff, a lot of them are on not crazy fast equipment. Yeah. When you get to the top of kids racing, it's almost like you have to earn it. A lot more thought into it, though. Like, into what they're doing to the bike. Yeah. It's not just dyno figures and things like that. There's a lot more that goes into it. But if you can start instilling a little bit of that mindset into yourself now, you know, and thinking not just what someone said, how has your kid reacted to what you've done? Have you put that pipe on because the dyno said it's good? Yeah. But then watch him. Yeah. Is it twitchy? Change the pipe. Have a look again. You know, but that takes time and effort. It's flipping hard, isn't it? Yeah, it is hard. I know you've got good contacts and you test a lot. It's not available. The everything we say is just a thought, an opinion. Yeah. People will be like, I haven't got the resources to do that. That's fine. It's like, you know, that's not the case for everyone.
Yeah.
But what we're saying here is, it's like, I'll use myself as an example. We'll touch on a bit of my racing at some points, but remember the first DMX we did in 2017? Even into 2018, I think we stepped things up a little bit with Matt Smith. No joke, I had a 250F. And what do you recall was done to that? The gearbox was tumbled because what do you call it?
Yeah, because they had an issue with the third gear, didn't they?
Yeah, the
so you had
selective.
super polished gearbox. Did you have an ECU?
ECU. And the
Pipe?
a pipe. And we used some like legal but better fuel.
Was it legal?
There was one, I think.
Sometimes maybe not
we
legal.
didn't do it. If we smelt it from someone else, there was a bit in the back. No.
Yeah.
No, I think we had a dabble on that. But
the first year though, probably we didn't do that.
no, it's definitely not. But what
we were using Carlos. Carlos, remember the grey?
Yeah, the
drums?
Carlos drum.
Hyperflow.
So what I'm saying with that is, like, that was at an EMX level. We was competitive. We was top 5 in the British, quite regular.
Yeah.
And I guess rather than investing so much on the engine because it was a limited budget, I'm faintly remember we always had good clutches in.
Yeah.
It was a fresh clutch.
Always.
Good starts.
And then you did quite a bit of work with the suspension as well.
Yeah, we was with
Colin?
We was with Colin for a while.
And at that point he was like fully on it with you, wasn't he?
Yeah. We was getting the bike comfortable, like exactly what you said. This is what I've been through as a rider.
I remember we got some forks. We had Sean Simpson's old forks.
Yeah.
Remember?
Cone valve.
Yeah, cone valves.
Yeah.
But they had the silver stanchions.
I love
They were
them.
like a hybrid
Kept them going
between
for
a
a couple of
factory
years.
fork
Yeah.
and a production fork.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't ride on the ones with the black stanchions.
Didn't like them.
You were
There's
like,
something about the feel.
And Colin was like,
they're the same.
I can't.
Yeah.
What is it?
That's right.
It was so mad because he put the same settings in both, and you could feel the difference.
They're just a bit more plushness.
Yeah.
Sat a little
well,
bit
he could
different in the
put like a
stroke.
crosshatch in the.
Yeah.
That's when people think, oh, DLC coating black better.
Yeah.
But no, if you've got chrome coating, you can crosshatch it, and it pulls a film of oil over the. And you love that for.
But what I'm saying here is, like, back to that, is like there was a set budget. You could either get a really fast engine and not really keep on top of it.
Yeah.
Or make small gains, which we did.
Yeah.
The bike was strong. It wasn't the fastest on the track by a fair bit, but it was reliable, and it always had a fresh clutch in it.
Yeah.
So the budget went to something that creates the drive.
Yeah.
We had 100% out of that engine, rather than a really good engine that you're pushing for. That's a little expensive, and you can't keep on top of it.
Yeah.
These are the decisions I feel like need to be made when you're at a younger age.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Do your research. Yes, next year we had a bit more help. We had Paul Grimshaw come in, didn't we?
Yeah.
A couple of others, and we had a Roland Shaw engine, maybe.
I can't. Maybe.
And a multi-tech influence with the ignition.
Yes.
We stepped it up.
That was a good bike.
It was a great bike.
was like-
It probably had 46.
I remember Colin coming off the dyno with his face.
Smiling away. So yeah, we did step it up, and that shows that the engine tuning, we did the research. We didn't.
With EMX, it was more so you could get out of the gate, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just get a start there. Everyone's trying to kill each other.
They are. Yeah.
Everyone.
But that was Jet Lawrence, wasn't it?
Jet Lawrence,
Kevin
Suzuki,
Hogmo, Rowan van der Moosdijk.
Yeah.
People are like, probably don't follow it.
But you were like a granddad.
VL.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Martin Barr was in there.
Yeah. But yeah,
Mel
was in there.
Pocock's a bit older than me. He's the same age as me.
It was
but
a bit of a mad time that where you had like
everyone.
Yeah.
Clarkey was doing good
Really
bits
young-
at the time.
yeah.
James Dunn on
Yeah,
the 2-stroke.
Stephen won.
Woodcock, Dylan.
Was he doing them then?
Yeah. You had like.
I always remember Jet at Germany.
Did he win at Germany?
Yeah, or something like that. He did really well. Second,
one of
maybe.
those,
He was
yeah.
amazing.
So-
You're just looking
so-
at him like, he's so small.
Yeah. So just a
kid.
bit of perspective on this. This was 2018. Jet Lawrence had gone from a 85 that last year, 2017. Yeah. So he's gone from an 85 based in Belgium to his brother's factory Suzuki 250.
Yeah, because I think the team folded.
Yeah.
The factory team, and then somehow they managed to keep a couple of the factory 250s, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I think they ran them themselves. I think it was just him and his dad.
Yeah.
I remember they had this like dirtbag silver Sprinter.
Yeah.
And it was like they just started running out of that.
Full on with it, wouldn't they?
But they had really good equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
The bikes looked like they were good.
But Yeah, so that particular year, Jet Lawrence was he 13? Or
No, he'd have been 14, wouldn't he?
14.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14. Let's say he was 14. On a good spec bike. First round, he didn't qualify, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Spain. Then he started qualifying. Then he got some points by round 3. Then we got to Sand in Italy. He won a race.
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere. Everyone's like, whoa. We've just been beat by a 14-year-old.
It was mental.
It was crazy. Then he, by the last round, that was at Assen. Double,
That was it. Yeah, that's
and
what
he
I was
double
there.
won that.
Yeah. Because I drove
probably lapped me. I crashed, but he lapped me, didn't he?
Yeah, I drove to Assen in the truck with Eric.
Grundle, yeah.
Yeah, because I'd bought this like race truck. I drove there with Eric. Some American dude. His dad was the main owner of the Geico Honda team. I think with the factory connection guy.
Yeah.
And then so this American guy has flown over to the UK, come to my house. He's messaged me on Instagram. Can I come do a GP? And we was like, yeah, just do it. Flown to the UK. We took him to the Sand Bowl in Stourbridge.
With Tommy.
Yeah, Eric just like, what am I doing? Like, we're just in the middle of a council estate ripping around the Sand Bowl, you know what I mean? And like, and then we drove to Assen. And the truck broke down as well, and Eric thought we weren't going to make it to the race. And I was like, Eric, trust me. I'm like this young kid, you know what I mean? Like, I'm probably way in too deep trying to help out Matt with the team and doing all that. And I'm like, just trust me, I'm going to get you there. You know, like just like ringing all these people.
And you got that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I managed to get these people. It cost me about €2,000 to get it fixed, but I got him there.
Yeah, you did.
I remember rolling in Friday night.
We've got, I think, just going on as an overview on what we're doing here with this podcast, I think straight away we've been on some freestyle stuff there. We've gone across a lot of things. It's good though. Like,
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is the introduction.
Probably the best conversation I've had with you for years.
Yeah, because we never have time.
We're never pigeonholed into one space.
All I want to say is, like, we've covered a lot of subjects there. We're not focused on one bit. We're going to get better at this. I'll get better at this. I'm hosting, Callum's co-host, and maybe we'll get some other people involved. But we'll get more direction. I like the concept of the coach, the dad. We're going to pass some ideas across. Anything we say, I want to touch on this. Everything we say it's an opinion. We're not here to offend anyone.
No, not at all.
I've got experience with being through it. Callum's in it. He's made mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've witnessed things. It's just a bit of like...
And I'm trying my best. You know what I mean? I'm trying my best. And like, I know like other people, like even if someone like you feel like you've been offended by it, but you are trying your best. So sometimes just maybe like listen to another opinion. Yeah. Relax, man.
You don't have to take our word for it, but...
We've got some fantastic little riders coming through in this country, though.
Yeah,
and we've got
going well.
Yeah, it is.
Something's working, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I think the auto scene here, and 65s and stuff, it's massive. Yeah, compared to we went and raced in Latvia and Estonia in the winter,
and you could tell the difference.
Coop's there, and it's like a national supercross league thing that they do, and we're qualifying for A races. Yeah, shouldn't be.
I understand.
But so we're healthy here. Yeah, we're very healthy.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Let's wrap this one up. What we'd like some feedback. I'd like some feedback. What you think we should talk about? Some subjects. Some people might be quite new into it and say, "Oh, what do you think about this?" Let's hear it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And like, what would you like to see in the studio? Like, it'd be really nice if Josh bought an air conditioning unit.
Can you see the sweat? I've been sweating for
I'm so
half
hot.
an hour. Yeah,
I'm so hot.
It's almost dripping off me. I get hot.
No, mate, I don't sweat.
And you're sweating.
Stuff's going wrong.
But here. I've managed to just keep going. I was going to ask for a break. But I just thought, I was drinking.
I can see the odd little watch that you are. What time is it? When am I going to pass out? What's my heart rate doing?
But we've raw dogged it, as you would say.
Full raw dog.
We're through, and I just want to. I want to improve. I want to get better. I want some feedback. If someone's offended, let me know.
And
because
also,
I don't want that.
If people want us to touch on any subjects,
that's it
as well. Then just put it in. Because you know, sometimes you just need that little bit of influence. If you're struggling with something, if you got a kid, and you want to get some advice off Josh, or me, because I'm in it, I'm doing it. It might not be the right advice because we'll know in 20 years' time whether Coop wants to keep doing this or not.
Yeah, we'll see.
But we'll try our best.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. I'm I'm going to listen back, see if I need to tweak my voice a bit. Does it sound all right?
Yeah, you sound fine. Right.
Sounds all right.
See you in a bit.
Yeah, thanks to P1 Constructions for bringing us this podcast. And look out for some Let's Talk Bikes on-track stuff that we'll be doing with Reese. And yeah, catch you all soon. Thanks for joining us.
What was the Pro Goo thing? Bye-bye.
I can't remember.